Today's rant will be about the current console war. It's been about 3 years since the 7th gen consoles have all arrived in the market, and within those 3 years, it's been a madhouse when it comes to the fan bases of these consoles. Whether it's violence or simple arguing, I am certain that everybody is in a flap about nothing. The worst fan base of the three has got to be the Microsoft fanboys with the Xbox 360. Whenever there's a conversation happening about the newer gen consoles and what games each other is playing, it's constantly the Xbox fanboys who tout that the 360 is so much better than the Wii and the PS3, but their arguments are always tried and of no merit. The Xbox 360's biggest issue is that the console itself never seems to survive. About 3/5 of the people who own a copy of the 360 run into the biggest malfunction the world of gaming has ever bore witness to. That, pals, is what is referred to as the Red Ring of Death. I don't own a 360 myself, but a friend of mine did lend me the system when they went out of town 2 summers ago. Then, I got to play some interesting games, including Gears of War, Mass Effect, Perfect Dark Zero, and an assortment of other games. I had a look at Call of Duty Modern Warfare, but I wasn't very engaged with it. Long story short, just about a few days before my friend came back home from where they went, I went to turn the console in one August morning, and to my horror, those tail infrared lights shone around the power button. I thought he was going to kill me. I was taking such good care of the system, and it seemed to work fine 3 weeks earlier. You never heard about this kind of issue when the older generation consoles were in their run. It almost never happened with the PlayStation 2 and original Xbox, but with this fan-brat machine, Microsoft's customer satisfaction rating has surely plummeted. Speaking of which, those fanboys I mentioned earlier make the enjoyability of the console suffer, especially when it comes to Xbox Live. Of these 3 consoles, the 360 has the most online players. The ratio of decent people to degenerate people is very arguably 1-to-1. They are especially fun to play with when they are some hard-ass man living at home in the platform dusk to dawn. There's also a bunch of little kids and preteens hogging the server who don't know how to behave, and they talk like their cock is as big as Dick the Clown's. Seriously, here's just a sampling of what I hear on Xbox Live.
Second-minded little faggot, bitch, you're a faggot, yes, faggot, pussy, you're my bitch, kiss my cock, nigga, I fuck all the women, you is a faggot, cocksucker, we're going, nigga, you're a faggot, you suck at this game, eat my ass, get out of this room, faggot, eat my ass, daddy, you suck at video game, you almost faggot, at my dick, I got 3 Xbox 360s, in one in case this one breaks, pass me some Domino's pizza, bitch, I rape your mother and your sister, little bitch, ass faggot, I rape you in this game, nigga, look at all this money I have, bitch, ass faggot, work here, nigga, play the Wii, faggot, put that controller in your mouth like my cock, you faggot, pussy.
Oh, I'm absolutely putting down $60 a month to play with those numbnuts. Even if the 360 console came first of these 3 competing consoles, I can't say it's ahead of the curve by any means. Most of the games I am interested in for the 360 can be played in PC anyway, so all my incentives to buy one of these consoles has watered down to a store brand flavor aid. Then there is the PlayStation 3. It's one of the 2 7th generation consoles I own, not counting the handheld devices. I bought it about a year and a half ago, and so far, I don't have any complaints. It's expensive, but that's due to it being better built/made, as compared to the 360 in the specs caliber. Upon release, people were bitching about PS3 non-stop, because it was both expensive, and didn't have enough games to play. Well, guess what? Sony has still been making games for PS2, as well as their PSP. It's 2010 and last I checked, Sony is still making games for the PS2. I think some stores even carry the slimline console, since the PS2 sold so damn well. They are working with newer software, so clearly it was going to take more time to add games to its library, but as of 2010, look, where we are now, there's plenty of exclusive titles and type ports of cross-platform games for sale, especially that one game that no one else seems to have bought, except I, that being Africa. Very strange, yet very entertaining. God of War 3 is coming out in less than 10 days, so that's definitely something to look forward to. Aside from an assortment of games to get lost in, online play is free. It can play Blu-ray movies, which I haven't actually done yet. It can do every other feature that the 360 and sometimes the Wii can do, but I haven't got a care for what else it can do, because I'm merely interested in the games themselves. Alright, it's backwards compatible with PS1 games, but I have my own PS1 already, so that's something for younger players to think about. I also like the look of the console. I've heard complaints about the system being too big, but I like the look of it. That hefty size assures me that I've purchased something of high quality. If I had to cite a con about the PS3, it would be that it has copied the Wii with the PlayStation Move device, dildo shaped as well, but I suppose it's better that they have done this to compete with the 2 other companies financially. There aren't any games that require the Move that I'm interested in. Then there's the Nintendo Wii. Last I recall, the Wii has sold the most of all three consoles, and it's obvious due to their catering to the most ill-appropriate of audiences. It's been quite rare and tight-lipped occasions in which traditional hardcore games have been celebrated during their release. That mostly applies to Smash Bros. Brawl. To start off, I'm not a fan of the series, because I've always found the feel of the combat system and the level layouts to be fleeting, for lack of a better descriptor. It's not even fun when playing with friends. I don't know why people can't get enough of these games. Back to what I said about Nintendo catering to ill-appropriate audiences, it seems that Nintendo has created an embarrassingly overarching reach in who they are looking to sell their console to. I would not be surprised if it gets as cringeworthy as the Obongness being in ones of the Wii commercials. People talk about senior citizens in retirement homes getting down to the Wii. Mostly because they came out with the Wii Fit. As a younger child, I never thought I'd be in a time where Nintendo is marketing their home console as a weight loss product. Some people bitch about the Wii, because they are just too fucking clumsy for their own good. They seem to think that the Wiimote wrist strap is just some cosmetic tassel, like on some go-go dancing hooker. That string should go through a few decades of use before the tie split. You're clutching the Wiimote in your fist anyway. Maybe don't play the Wii when you're drunk. The Wiimote should be pre-calibrated so you don't have to swat with it in such a ridiculous manner. Either way, you'd be pressing down on a button, whatever motion it is you're doing. And that brings me to my biggest complaint about the Wii. Finding a suitable hardcore game can be like finding a diamond in a rough due to the endless amount of shovelware games. Holy shit. Wii Sports, Just Dance, Base Pro Hunting, Cooking Mama, Super Monkey Ball, Game Party, Carnival Games, Thrillville, Epic Mickey, American Idol. Jesus Christ, off a splintering cross, put a gun to my head, already. It seems like every day, I stumble upon another one of these shitty shovelware games that I hadn't seen before. It makes the Wii look so unappealing to see all these shitty casual games in the shelves in a video game store, like GameStop, or even inside of department stores, which is worse. Half of these games have got to be singing games, and I doubt any of them can help make the people playing them better singers. Although, I'm sure that's not the intended purpose of these games. They are just about having fun. How dare these casual players play these games in vanity in the shadow of recording musicians and people who sing for a living? It's disgraceful. The people who play these games should be scoped out and have their electricity cut. And how dare they avert these consumers' eyes away from real games? Even games like Mario and Sonic at the Olympics are bad in this respect. They are all just a bunch of cheaply made gimmick games that don't do anything to enlighten or segue these quote-unquote newer gamers into the territory of more complex and niche video games. Overall, the Wii is not too different from the GameCube, except for its motion controller. It's rather a problem when a game company's handheld console has more good games for it than their home console. All the fanboys can go fuck themselves. Chad Warden is clearly a dumbass. People who claim the Wii is the best console are absolutely delusional, or your mother, or your grandmother. The 360 fanboys are just a bunch of sheep suburbanites who only play Call of Duty or Halo and nothing else, because they were raised to follow orders and do what everybody else does. I'm not even sure why people are calling this era of gaming a quote-unquote war. The sales depends on the choices of the populace. The sales don't make any of the good games in any of these systems any better or worse. I really don't know where these companies are going to go next with these games. All they can really do at this point is make newer consoles with better graphics and visuals. I don't buy video games because of their graphics, anyway. Newer franchises are going to do a marginal difference in my life. I'm so busy in my own life these days that I'm probably never going to buy a new video game console after this generation. In my eyes, there's a cutoff as far as development and improvements to video games go. There's really no need to progress forward. There have been numerous games already made in the past 25 years that you're better off making a bucket list of all the past games you haven't played and play games that way. Maybe Sega should rejoin the market and put out a new console.